Welcome to the AP News Report. I'm Ilse.
And I'm Ashley, here to bring you your daily news report.
Today we will be covering the topic of recent global diseases, specifically from the previous century.
However, it just won't be any normal type of disease.
That's right, Ashley. It's HIV and AIDS.
And we have Isabella on the scene, ready to learn more about these deadly viruses.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm Isabella Kelly here to discuss the virus known as HIV and AIDS. To learn about HIV and AIDS, I'm here with one of the scientists from the Nation Association of Human History, Sarah. Sarah, what is HIV and AIDS for those wondering at home?
The virus that can be contracted from sexual contact, contaminated blood like sharing needles, given through mother at birth or by breastfeeding.
Wow, it seems like it's highly transmittable if not careful. I'm here with Sarah's co-partner Kaylee to discuss more.
Thank you, Isabella, but actually AIDS is the final form of HIV. If the HIV is left untreated, it goes ahead and destroys your immune system, which would lead to AIDS.
Gosh, that's terrifying.
Don't worry, as HIV spreads, we are coming up with solutions. Meantime, we have treatments to prolong the life of those affected.
And what are those treatments?
I'm glad you asked. Looking at the notes here, our current treatments are protease inhibitors, or known as HAART, and another one that is notable and commonly used, especially in the gay communities, is known as pre-exposure prophylactics, or PrEP. And if you can't afford those, then it's safe to say that you could just go ahead and practice safe sex.
Hopefully this brings Ilse comfort. I'm Isabella Kelly heading back to the studio.
Whew, that's a relief.
I know, quite a relief indeed. We've come such a long way compared to our history. Let's see what Dr. Addis has to say about this.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm historian Dr. Owen Addis, and what I do is look and analyze at past human events and their behaviors.
What can you tell us about our history with HIV and AIDS?
Well, let's get one thing down first. This was first discovered in 1981, and when discovered, early cases were within homosexual men and drug users in New York City. However, this does not mean that the disease was only targeted to these demographics, as straight men, women, and even children can contract the disease, which was also mentioned earlier. But can you guess, after 24 years, how many have been affected by the year of 2005?
1 million?
I wish, but by the end of 2005, almost 38.6 million people would be infected, and 20 million of those people will later die from AIDS. Even with today, that number is still high, as by 2020, almost 37.7 million people will be infected with HIV. In fact, even by comparing the AIDS crisis from the start of the pandemic to 2020, almost 36.3 million to 38 million people have died from AIDS-related illnesses. Even COVID, our most recent pandemic, hasn't even hit any of those numbers, only reaching 6.1 million deaths. Granted, the people in the 80s and the 90s weren't blessed with such medical discoveries as the modern day, but even then, in comparison to the amount of deaths, that's still a lot.
Where did such a big number come from?
Well, out of the 38.6 million people infected in 2005, 24.5 million of those would come from Africa. This effect would leave kids orphans after the parents would contract the disease.
Wow, that's crazy. Do you know what the aftermath was?
With so many people falling ill and dying, it leaves over 10 million kids orphans, and 80% of those kids would even house the HIV and AIDS disease. But wait, there's more, because it would kill a lot of young adults, which would leave the economy in Africa to suffer because their working class was dying.
Is it true that AIDS are theorized to spread faster while in India?
It is believed that because of India's population, it has theorized to have been spread quicker at the time.
Was it true that there are programs to help combat HIV and AIDS?
Thankfully, yes. An example of that would be PEPFAR, or commonly known as the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief in Uganda.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Addis, for going in such depth on AIDS and HIVs for our segment here. Well, I'm Ashley.
I'm Ilse.
And this has been
our daily AP News Report.
Thank you. Bye.